All right, well, I'm ready to begin when we are. If you want to start, you can. I'm going to go ahead and sync my screen up, but it's okay.
Did you start recording?
Yes, I have restarted recording. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, like, now, just wanted to give you some. You're gonna have to revoice me and. Sorry. It's fine, yeah, really well.
All right, ready when you are.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming in person. You'll find this meeting is a little better when we can talk, together, brainstorm ideas together.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Morris Brandon's GOTeam meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it's been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the GOTeam. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the GOTeam, please identify yourself when you speak. There is no public comment today. I am pleased to call this meeting of Morris Brandon GOTeam to order at 3:33. Our first order of business is the call roll. The secretary will now call roll.
Please respond present when your name is called. Principal Blank.
Here.
Eric Bourne.
Here.
Chris Fellows.
On the way.
On the way, okay. Kim Hall.
Here.
Hannah Moses.
Here.
Sam Jordan.
Here.
Michael Forhan.
Great question.
Okay. Tiffany Ingram here. And Melissa Nieto.
Here. This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ashley, is a quorum present?
A quorum is established.
So now we can proceed and we will move on to our next order of business, which is the approval of the agenda. This is provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Moses. All in a second? Second. Thank you, Tiffany. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Great. Move on. Next, we'll review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? No. If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes? Motion to approve. Okay. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Great. Okay. So those were the only action items we have for today's meeting. We will now move on to discussion items. So the first discussion item we have will be our 2025-2030 strategic plan development, and we'll talk about key performance indicators.
Is that me?
That is you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all coming in. We are going to do our best to be done by 4:30 today. But we have a little bit of work to do, and this is the beginning of a bit of a longer process, but they've chopped it up a lot. So it's good that it's not all in the first day. But a couple things are happening today. We're meeting in person, but we are still streaming online. So as we do some of our work, I might walk around with the computer just so people can kind of see the work we're doing. I'm trying to manage people that might be jumping on while also kind of doing the meeting. So it should be okay though, so it'll work. So we're gonna go through the slides, and I will say there's a lot of slides they added into this. So we're just gonna, instead of me reading the slide to you, we maybe read them together or individually, okay? All right, we did this, so thank you so much. We've done this. Let's talk about our discussion items. Today we're gonna begin our, see if I can reduce this a little so you can see, our strategic plan. Those that were around 5 years ago, we did write a strategic plan, and it was great. We had a template, and we had strategies and priorities and goals, and it looks like this. And you're going to get a copy of this in just a minute. And it's a lot of word salad, right? It's a lot of action steps and words, but this is supposed to be very very community facing. And the idea is that APS felt that we can make it better aligned and more directly aligned to what the board's goals are and the district's goals. And we want to make sure that we're sort of all using the same format. So our 5-year plan is over, and we're going to write a new one this year. And we can use many of the same strategies or many of the same priorities, and even some of the same goals. But today we're going to look at some new goals that we have. And we're going to really dig into what's called KPIs, or key performance indicators. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit too. All right. I'm going to let you read a little bit, okay? Because there's a lot of APS slides for you here. All right, we want to empower Atlanta students to shape the future. All right, community of believers. This is a big one, and I want you to just to kind of look at this slide just for a moment, because we are getting back to basics in APS.
Ms. Height, will you please pay the front office, Ms. Height?
So we're getting back to basics in APS. That is Dr. Johnson's MO. It's a great one to do over the years, and with more money that comes into our district, you begin to sort of find new projections and new priorities. And now that the money has gone away in much of APS, because we know we're in a budget deficit, it's actually a great time to tighten it up and bring it back to basics, right? Focus on what's important. So that's sort of what this right side is about, right? Strengthening our core, caring about our children, sparking our curiosity. These are just some directions and things that we've heard Dr. Johnson talk about, and things that he wants to implement throughout our school, in our school system. One of the things he's talked about that's real big in that Brandon too is reducing the variability between one classroom to the other. So at our school, very good, very reduced variability. I can go to, one classroom and the next, and we see a lot of streamline, a lot of great instruction. We see, our teachers plan together and so forth. But can you go to a classroom here and then go to a classroom in another school and see the same type of instruction? So there's a lot of work on that. All right, we'll talk about the key performance indicators for a second. These are the big 3 for APS. I'm going to read them to you. By 2030, we're going to increase the percentage of 3rd grade students scoring proficient and above in ELA on the Georgia milestones by 20 percentage points. Okay. Those are students that are proficient or above at ELA. Who knows where Brandon is in 3rd grade ELA on the last milestones, if you remember? Anybody remember? They actually, the 1 grade level that came in above the school average, and they did really well. So they're at about 76.5. And that's about the best they have done in ELA in a long time. That's proficient and above. That's great. That's great data. As a school, we're closer to 74%. So we're going to look at what our KPI goal is for that. By 2030, we're going to increase the percentage of 8th grade students scoring proficient or above on math. That's not going to be a Brandon goal, but we're going to support that growth, aren't we? By 2030, we're going to increase the percentage of students meeting at least one CCRPI college and career readiness indicator. All right. Graduation rates, AP courses, lots of that. This is what the focus area would look like in regards to the targets for some of these caring for children. And we're going to go through these, so I'll just show you. This is the district averages right now, okay? Percentage of students who are not chronically absent, right? At Morris Brandon, we are at 98.5, okay? The district is at 68.5. We have 1.5% of our students are chronically absent. The district has 32, right? You can go all the way down. Sense of belonging. We do a lot of surveys. Okay. This is where we have to be. Discipline, percentage of students without suspension. So about 11% of kids in APS all have suspensions. They want to reduce that to only 5%. Keep going down, suspensions with students with disabilities. So a lot of these may seem like they're not Morris Brandon problems, right? Not Morris Brandon issues. But we're going to take a look at our KPI because we do have goals for these as well. And we need to determine today which of our KPI goals we want to lift to be our new strategic plan goals too. We want to keep going down. We want to increase percentage of student success plans, something that we started at Brandon this year. 0% is not really real, is it, Moses? Because we have at least a few kids at Brandon that have these success plans, don't we? I would say maybe 0.08% for the district.
What's that? What do you think?
Great question. So the majority of students that need supports with their learning typically have a plan. It's usually an IEP for special ed. It's usually a TPC if you're ESOL, meaning you have to learn a language. MTSS, like the supports like Moses manages, you get 504s, or you can get that for supports and plans. We are looking at the students that need supports that don't fall under any of those umbrellas. So a good percentage of students for that is our students that fall in the 30th percentile to about the 50th, because they're not low enough to be an intervention or qualify for special education, or sometimes they're not a language learner, they don't have a plan. Some of those kids fall through the cracks. Those are the kids that sit in the yellow, and we need to move that 20% into the green. So that's what we're focused on. That's what Moses has been working on too. Percentage of schools with 4 or 5-star climate rating, 50%. Right now, only 20% of the schools have a 4 or 5-star climate rating. We have a 4-star right now. And that's good because 5-star is very hard to get. Very hard.
Does anyone have it?
Yeah, they do. You can actually earn a star, like a full star, if you do PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention Systems. It's a huge program that you adopt, and you have a PBIS coordinator, and it's all about behavior and incentives. And we do a lot of that. But if we were to actually do PBIS and adopt it, and it's for schools that have behavior challenges, where the more kids need supports than the less kids like we have, it would get us another star. And if I hadn't sat there back in my office every now and again and said, hey, we can get this 5th star, we do PBIS, I've thought about it. It's just a lot of work. Otherwise, we just need our teachers and our community to really do our surveys in a way that gives us 5 stars. There's yeah. And then we also have to look at our suspensions and behavior, because if we are suspending or we are coding things, if we have issues like battery or assault, which is very rare, but those types of codings in our state system can affect your climate score too. But we're a 4-star. All right. All right, let's talk about the strategic plan development. This is basically the strategic plan, what it looks like. Well, it's management, government, and then up top. And you're going to see that the GOTeam really sits at that top part, okay? Strategies and actions are very much the school level management piece. The governance is more of that top part. This is just a slide that explains what GOTeam is or what it does, the purpose, what's the picture, and you can sort of see how it aligns across. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to look at this screen and see how where it falls in regard to some of those areas, okay? So these are the strategy. A strategy would be implementing an MTSS or multi-tier area of support. All right. Some objectives or focus areas for caring for every child might be percentage of students who are chronically absent. If we get a little bit higher, we're looking more towards our strategic goals. What is our purpose? What do we want to do? And that's the big picture of literacy, numeracy, college and career readiness, which is kind of what we're going to focus on today. This is it right here, all the way sort of down to those objectives. What are the main focus areas? What continuous improvement activities are needed to get results? Now, I will say this. I have gotten 3 buckets back from CCRPI. CCRPI is our school rating. It's from last year's data. We are still holding tight to the data we got from not last year, but the year before, which was very strong, right? 5% increases in reading and math. We've got 3 new buckets. The 4th will be coming out soon. And then in mid-November, they're going to release our CCRPI score. Okay. So I wish we had that core data to drive some of this. But that data is not necessarily going to be a decision-making factor in this, but when that is released in mid-November, we're gonna have to have some discussions around that too, okay? I have, content mastery, which is, it dropped a little bit, and I can just tell you, it's still in the high 90s. I have, progress, which dropped a little bit, but it's still in the mid to high 90s. And then we have closing the gaps, which is those subgroup buckets, and that's dropped because we missed our targets on economically disadvantaged and Black students.
Right.
And the reason we did that is a reminder, it's not poor teaching necessarily, but when you CRPI is built to punish you if you do well. So when you hit your targets or you exceed them like we did 2 years ago, and that's what the state will tell you, they say that in their PLs, our targets jump up another 5%, and you have to keep that going. And it's a little bit of a cycle, and then all of a sudden the targets drop back down, you do a great, it's a little bit, we want to keep that trajectory, but we do have some clear gaps that we can focus on when that data comes out, okay? But that's all I can really talk about now because everything is still embargoed. All right, here's our overview. I'll let you read this. The purpose of this, and they talked about this, is to create alignment, reduce confusion, and simplify our efforts. We need to vote on our strategic plan and have it completed, ready to go by January, because we can't touch the budget until that's done. All right. The good news is I think we're going to be in a good place. All right. Okay, we're going to look at 3 key documents. The first one is our old strategic plan. We're going to take a look at our continuous improvement goals. This is just an example. That's not our schools. And then we're going to take a look at our KPI document, which is that key performance indicator. All right. So let's do it. Let me see the best place to jump in and start all right, just a little bit more. This is the process. This is our business meeting. So we did the first one. We did the second one. This is where we are right now. Okay. And then we're going to have to do our third one. We're going to identify our strategic objectives, which I feel like I've got some good ones. I need y'all's blessing on that, or you tell me some other ones. And then our last one, we're going to approve it and then rank those priorities. And that'll be probably like in early January. All right, let's look at it. So a couple things I want to give you first. The first thing I want to give you, I printed this up because I find it helpful, is a school profile. Why not take a look at Morris Brandon in color and see all the stuff that we got going on? Let's look at it really quickly together. We have a great data department, so we have these at our fingertips. I'll show that's what it looks like. All right, this just talks about our school profile. You can see the percentage of students that are gifted, English language learners. You can see our SWD population, that's the top right. You can see the percentage of students that are white all the way down to Asian. You can see our total enrollment, which is real time, okay? Then you can see our attendance. Our take rate is 100%, which is awesome. That means every teacher has taken attendance every day. Not missed one. So our take rate, well, our take rate is 100%. It's not 98. That's adjusted. You can adjust those, by the way, if you go back and you see that. But our average daily attendance, if you take a look, is really, really strong right now at 97.7%. Okay, that anything in the green indicates things that are good. If our attendance was low or not good, it would be shaded yellow or red. You can see the average daily attendance rate. And you see that one day, it looks like August 29th. You see how that's a little shaded, like a little like not as dark green. That means we had a lot more kids absent that day. So we can actually look at the days and see where we are. You can keep going down. I like this because you can see behavior referrals and what we have and how many we have this year. You can see how many incidents by student. That means that we have, it looks like last year we had 6 students with 4 or more incidents. This year we have 1. Of course, it's only 2 months into the year, but we'll take that, right? Incidents by grade level. Where are we seeing the most behavior incidents? Obviously probably the upper grades. Look at milestone proficiency. You're going to look at ELA, math, science, and social studies. Proficient and above on the left, and you can see math in the middle. So we're at 74, right about 73 or 72 for math and 62 for science. And then you can see the percentage of students on map that met or exceeded their growth. And take a look at how that has kind of changed over the years. So 2 years ago in the fall, only 41% of our students met their ELA goals. Here we do fast forward 2 years ahead, we've increased that by nearly 14%. So you can see that they're reaching those goals. Proficiency in milestones and then failures by grade. So I wanted to show you that. All right. So use that when we do our decision making. The next thing I want to show you or give to you is our old strategic plan. All right. Just keep this, put it in your GOTeam binders. Okay.
Oh, just forgot.
Yeah. Forgot this today. Put it in there though. It's okay. We have to say, but I want to remind everybody of our old strategic plan. Okay. And you can take a look at the way they did the 4 buckets, our goals that led us to where we are. By the way, the goals we change, we tweak them sort of each year because the target had not the target, the end had changed, the starting point. So like for this year, we tweaked it to 74.6% because it had dropped 0.4% from 75. But outside of that, nothing has really changed on here. That's our whole strategic plan, and we're doing away with that this year. All right, the last thing I want to share with you, we're going to break into some groups, is our key performance indicators. Okay, and we're going to look at this briefly, not too much whole group, because I want you to dig into it on your own. All right, now I have 4 stations around the room. I'll point it out to you. I actually need 1 copy of those. I want you just to see your team leads because I did try and partner up like maybe a staff member to help lead the conversations with each. So if you look at our KPIs, they're really broken into like 7 categories, but I've tried to clump them together to make them 4. So strengthening instructional core. That second one where it says we are strengthening our instructional core. That conversation is going to be led by Miss Moses. Okay, just talking about it. That's all, because she understands the language a little more. And your form is right here. Okay. The next one is caring for every child. So that's where it says we are caring for every child. Miss Jordan, that'll be her group. And yours is right here. All right. The next one we have is our strength is our team. Isn't that funny? Just beforehand. Our strength is our team. I'll lead that group. That's okay. But our strength is our team is going to be right over there. And then the last, and then we have our responsibility is shared because Kim can handle that one. I think I have that one. Do I have that anywhere? Right there. And then the last one I put was our system is efficient and effective, but I actually didn't do one for that because I really just wanted you to look at this one, Ashley. And I want you to think about some ideas that maybe you and a partner could have for this last one. And you can jot it down. I can get you a white paper, but it was only 2 days. Oh, you do have.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had one. That totally threw me off. Never mind. All right, well then never mind. So before we start looking at all this, I want you to look at it with your groups, okay? So if I did not give you an area, you're gonna pick one, you're gonna partner up with our admin, and we're gonna work on answering these 5 things. I have markers in front of us if you want to grab one. Or you can use a pen too, or a green or a highlighter or whatever works. I might be something a little better for me to find something.
Can I just make sure I'm reading this right?
Yes.
So this is Horace Braden's KPI. So our
Yep.
key performance indicator for like literacy percentage of 3rd grade, we are at 76.5.
Yep.
The 2030 goal for the district is an 87.
That's for our school.
For us.
Yep.
Versus the current district goal or performance is a 76.5.
Yes, so they're looking, every school has a target that they have to hit by 2030. That's our goal. Who came up with that? Aaron Kruger in the data department paired with.
Because like the last one, enrollment is 889, our goal is 450.
No, that is the goal though.
What?
That's the goal for, not for us, for elementaries though.
But this is
So
the elementary school goal?
now, so let me just give it, every one on the right is our goal. So just the 450 at the bottom, that's the baseline they want every school at.
Okay.
So where it says that we're already there, see how we've already hit the line?
Yeah.
See, the line means that we hit that target already.
Okay.
So the baseline is 450, we've already hit it, we're good. So great question, I don't mean to scare you one, thank you. It is, and we're good, like we're fine because
APS.
they want every school at 450.
Yeah. They're like. some of
Yeah.
them are very small.
So you can see the red line. If we hit that red line with the gray bar, we're good. Some of our targets we've already met. I mean, look, 4-star climate, for example, that was the goal, right? And you can see 4-star is our goal in 2030. You have to maintain that. You got to keep that, right? But we've already hit that. Okay. So without digging into it too much, like whole group, because I want y'all to have some organic conversations, we're going to take about 15 minutes to work together. These are the questions that GOTeam would like us to answer. And I'll put them up here too, so you can see.
My area really, we're already at.
Good. You're gonna answer these questions for me.
I'm saying them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is.
So what I want you to do is look at this. So guiding questions, Kim, you're doing, what are you leading, Kim?
Our responsibility is shared.
Shared. So what do you notice? We've already met our goals for so-and-so and so-and-so. What are your wonderings? What are your wonderings? Because just because we met it doesn't mean we are good 5 years from now. How can we maintain that goal? We cannot slip on these goals. This is what we're being held accountable to. And just so you know, soft goals. They made it. They told the principals, don't. It's okay. We're gonna get there. But I have identified 3 or 4 on here that I feel like we need to put in our CIP, and I want to see if you guys think those might be the same ones too. Moses, you have a question?
Yeah, I think this is what the lady was saying in our cluster meeting yesterday. All of ours match the district. Like our current KPI matches the district. So is that ours, or did they just put like all of these, the current KPI and the current district performance are the same? And she said that was for all the North Atlanta schools. So I don't know if they,
Yeah.
because we're already passed. So I just don't know if I'm like looking at this saying this is actually our, like for subgroup for Black students, is that actually 62.5 or are we higher or lower?
You talking about for our current KPI? That's our actual data.
So we're the exact same as the current district?
Um,
It does seem suspicious.
Like that's what they were saying on our cluster meeting yesterday too, and they were like, we're doing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I'll tell you this, when I look, I know that our third grade data is 76.5%. Like I know that is actually accurate.
Sir.
You're right. No, you're right. It's hard for me to tell you the students that are demonstrating proficiency. But we'll say this, let's go with this, okay? Because I will tell you, like, some of the data is right. Like, I know we're a 4-star school, right? I know our students that don't have suspensions is right. I know our English language learners have high access on growth percentiles, for example. Like, some of that data is accurate that I know of. Now, how it aligns with the district, why it's the same as the current, that's a great question.
Maybe we just anchor this conversation like
Exactly.
aspiring to the 2030.
Right, so let's anchor. So let's anchor it kind of where we are maybe now.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it is right.
Okay.
It is right. Yeah,
Okay, so the 2030 goal is APSs.
I even know that because the percentage of engaged staff, 64% is where we are with Gallup right now.
Okay.
And Gallup never engaged doesn't mean like good staff. It's the ones that are like over the top, like pulling in the right direction. And I knew that we moved from like 58 to 64% engagement, for example. So let's just anchor ourselves like where we need to be. And then do our best to assume this is our current KPI. But if I need to get a little bit more granular with some of these data points, I can. But I do want you to think about like, how do we get to these 2030 goals?
The 2030 goals are for the district or for Morris Brandon?
Well, I assume these are my Morris Brandon goals.
Okay.
Like that is what we need to be at. I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult to get 87% of third graders proficient and above on the milestone. In the district. We are like number 2 for third grade, and we're at 76% like that. So if you get the whole district to 87, it's a huge lift. Let's do it. But how can we get there?
Yeah.
All right.
More the last column.
Yeah, last column is a little confusing. So thank you for calling me out on that. That's fine. So as you go through that, and thank you, Moses, that was good. I want you to think about these questions. What are your wonderings? You can write some of that stuff on there. Are you on track for your area? So like assuming like I believe these goals are ours. Do you feel like we're on track to making that target? What do we need to do? When I said what's the gap, it's not so much the percentage points, but like where do you think we actually might have a gap in getting there? Or what might be the challenge or what might be the struggle? I've given you a data sheet to help kind of look through some of that to see. I've given you a partner that hopefully you can maybe bounce some ideas off of, but for the most part, I want you to record as best as you can. I want you to think about specific subgroup gaps That's huge for us because that was the bucket that we struggled a little bit on CCRPI. So when you're looking at our strength and our core, subgroups are any students that are not our big group, our white students. So think about Black students scoring proficient and above, students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged, Black students with typical or high growth, students with disabilities with high growth, economically disadvantaged. Those are all our subgroups. So if you think about that in all the categories, do you think there's any subgroup gaps? Even if you're down in our responsibility to share, percent of favorable responses to supporting student success. Well, maybe, let's do this one. Percentage of engaged, that's probably for teachers. It's the school climate one. Student staff relations, here we go. Percentage of students feeling comfortable going to most or all of the staff, 54.2%. It's pretty low. Do you think there's a subgroup gap in that answer? Right? Based on how our subgroup students are performing, do you feel like there could be a gap there? Okay. And the last question is, outside of the instructional core, and this is their question on the bottom, but I wrote it here so you can see it too, kind of what could be a focus area? So just anything that you think of, you can look through the whole sheet, like tell me in your area what might be a focus for our CIP. If I'm missing anything on there, it says outside of the instructional core. So it's saying like outside of this, but I want you to look at your individual buckets and look at your area and thinking outside of that, what else could be a focus? So if I'm looking at our strength as our team, we have these three areas. Am I missing anything with our team, our staff? Like, what am I missing? Is there anything that you can think of that we're missing the mark on that we need to do better on based on maybe any data points that we have? Okay, check for understanding. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. How we feel. All right. I know it's a lot of data, it's a lot of numbers. Go ahead and move to your groups. Take a few minutes and let's get some markers out to y'all. Got some here. Sharpies are good.
Yeah.
I got one here. This is a good one too.
I also saw
I got three right here. You want to get three more? Okay. You. I'm over here. No, I don't need to have I need to do a beforehand group. Our strength is on three. Does anybody want to come to my group? Okay. Good one. You feel good here?
Are you caring for every child? Can I be on your phone?
Yeah, I'll be coming. That's also good.
But that'll be.
Yeah.
From.
I think that's yeah. Well, that's good. That is probably just for us to know about. When you think about being efficient and effective, like, I think you kind of, you know, like
how they call it. Everything that does the school makes like we're doing pretty well. So
okay.
we're gonna be trying to.
Look at kids who, if you're like way down and grow this much, and you're full, then you're. So there's one for did the kids grow?
Well, for some reason, it's just something about what I think about it, but hopefully, that's a good thing if it's, it accurately represents like school reality.
And that.
If you're just have. You can respond. Like you exactly if that But overall, it's good. It's good and it was. They're looking to maintain the overall order and also make it.
So other people responded.
We just need all. Speak up.
What areas of what am I doing? Things. 4% of what are overlapping. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's.
Although usually I'm happy hearing.
Yeah.
Are all on track and the goal. If they're.
Highlight that for proficiency for Black and ED students. So perhaps the same, but
Yeah.
so maybe we're.
Only do Josh.
Names, proficiency, and it's not just like for Black and Latino. If the information is the
We need like, so that's what I have to. And I'm to do, I'm like. Yes.
Yeah.
What's it?
We get out of some. Or a highest chronic access.
Right. Yeah.
The tool was out of control. I don't think people.
We're just sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on the 10 line.
The people were like in town. Nobody can just. Literally, nobody. They didn't have to be about thing, Brandon.
Yeah. That's like,
Do I sound like it? I just like that. Bob.
But it would be like another. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a.
Not one thing, it's a bragging though. Right. Yeah. Would this be something that could be addressed?
Yeah.
In order to use more. That you see if they're trying. There is. Yeah. Yeah. We're asking to go to places.
I know we have to have.
Yeah.
Donna, you want to walk around some of the other ones in about 5 minutes? We'll come back together and share out.
It's a good call because.
Who was your survey one.
They
What
know.
do you, what's your thought on those?
Family engagement. I can tell you right now, there's a 95% chance of love roll. Complete the offense. Probably, I'd say probably not anything. I can get a number, but I can't. Wait, I'm gonna say. You only have to have your, you full student body, but you have to have your staff and only 15.
Like.
So I mean, 100 is good, but we're not capturing. And honestly, that's a lot, that can be strategic, like you just want to get the one that in, get it, and we're all program, so, you know. There's other ways to bar feedback that's not necessarily stated.
And really like. And like, it's just from a family.
That could be that little animal service. You know, they're actually not supposed to. Oh, no, they're not. You know, I'll sort of like that. But if I was for that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right, right.
Oh, I know. This is the last frontier for, we're gonna be back. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you like.
Right. If you are ready, we can move back. We'll take a few more minutes. Take your time. What do you mind? By the way, I just want you to know, these are our goals. I was able to see the other KPIs where it says current district performance. That's our current performance with the red line. I can see the other ones where they are. Yeah, I don't know why they said, because these goals. Yeah. I can see every goal.
Okay. Next on your. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, it is.
Yeah. Right. How you doing?
And I have a very. There's a lot of things.
Yeah. I've always said, like one of those Fridays corporations that you like reach that pot level sometimes.
So I.
And stuff up throughout.
Yeah. Sometimes about the environment and the time you take it. But we're not staffing.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah. Special development too, maybe that's somewhere. Okay.
A lot of people.
Budget.
We have budget for professional learning.
They come here, or can they go off site?
We send them both. We do a lot. Increasing professional learning, professional development, that's a good one. Like. That we're moving that, trust me. We send teachers every year. And when we bring the trainers in. All right, if y'all are ready, let's keep moving on because I still got a few more things to do. All right, So we're gonna share out briefly, and I'm gonna give each group about 2 minutes. As you share out, I want you to think in the back of your head, like if you want to start something, like, hey, that would be a really good CIP goal. That would be a really, not CIP, strategic plan goal. Okay, that would be a good goal to lift and put it as part of our strategic plan. Let's start with Hannah, and we are strengthening our instructional core. I'm gonna bring the computer over so they can see you just a little bit. We need 4 goals off this sheet. I have 4 that I identified, and I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way. But Hannah, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you got with
In all of the identified areas, we noticed that we need to grow significantly by greater than 10 percentage points. And that was in every area except for our students access testing for ELs. All of the others were 10 percentage points of growth or greater. Our Black and ED subgroups are the ones who need to grow the greatest, and it's in the area of proficiency versus like growth. They're making the growth, but in order to get them to proficiency is where we're really going to have to do that larger push.
proficiency push, by the way.
So proficiency is getting students to, like, what is proficiency?
Well, tell them what it is on grade level, but how many points is it? Just say 26%.
Like 26.1. Yeah, so that's like whether they're sitting at proficient or above versus did they just grow from their last assessment? And that's a larger growth. And then growth goals for all of those subgroups are all 10.7 percentage points. So when we look at growth, they're growing 10.7 percentage points, whereas to get to proficiency, we've got to get 26 plus percentage points of growth.
Yep. And then just to confirm that typical or high growth is growth percentiles that are between 40 and 60, right? So 40 and 60 percentile is where we want our kids. And it's saying right now that 62.5% of our African-American students in grades 3 through 5 had that 40 to 60. Everybody else is lower. So and that's not a bad number, I mean, to have that, but if they're only at 46% proficiency in general, we need that to be much higher to move them forward. We got to like increase their learning. It means like you're growing faster. You're doing more work in a year than other kids do, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, one of our wonderings was how much overlap between the Black and the ED students, just back to this data point here, because they were pretty superimposed, 26% and then 26.1. Another wonder was, what does proficiency and growth look like for English learners? And then this one was interesting. The younger babies could, what's that?
GPIS is the assessment they take in kindergarten.
Yep. It stands for the Georgia Kindergarten Readiness Inventory is what it is, but it doesn't,
Okay.
That doesn't line up to GKIDS, but that's what it is.
We were wondering, could the GKIDS gap be closed with additional pre-K classes at Brandon? And Ms. Moses told me there was only one.
And then looking at how many kids that are not hitting that proficient, or sorry, it's demonstrating and exceeding, how many of those kids in that band did not attend pre-K at all?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of our kids that don't go here go to private pre-Ks are those kids who didn't get to go to pre-K for whatever reason. Just looking at that.
Yeah. We would also have to understand what the ELA domains are, because it's saying that you're demonstrating or exceeding on all the ELA domains. I don't know if one of those domains is like reading with proficiency, but like obviously that's hard for kindergartens. So, but that's a good one. And I definitely think pre-K would be an added factor, especially if those kids are staying at Brandon.
How many of the current pre-K class?
It's a good amount. At this point, we're out of 20, probably 17 that stay. It is. It is. But the bulk of our students are are in there. The bulk of our students are applying, are getting in. If you were to choose one of these goals as our actual, like an actual CIP, I keep saying that, but that's my internal document, our strategic plan goal. Like, would any of these goals on here with strengthening our instructional core be a good goal, you think?
I mean, yeah, I think this Black and ED subgroups.
Right.
And then I think it's just a decision of like, do we focus on growth
Or proficiency?
Process that's going to get us to proficiency, or do we just go ahead and set the proficiency knowing that the growth is happening?
Right.
Because they're making growth, but that growth is not getting them to proficiency fast enough.
Yep. Good call out. Great call out on I'll use that because I want to start these on the other ones too. Many of our African-American students and our ED students are the same students, right? Same students. I know all of our ED students. It's very hard to identify them. You have to find the right documents and stuff. But the majority are subgroup students, and if you can knock out one of those, you'll knock out the other one with it. All right, let's go to the next one we have. Why don't we go over here to our systems are efficient and effective. That's at the bottom. They only had 2, but they got some great ideas.
All right, so what do you notice? We noticed that for enrollment, we've already well exceeded the goal. However, there's also a safety component, safety perception, and what do we need to do to increase our safety perception is what we also noticed on that point. Millie, do you want to do the? Oh, go keep it. All right, and so what are the wondering? We were wondering the safety perception in particular. Why do 4% approximately students feel not, think if the terminology was very safe or extremely safe? So we were very concerned about like what our students like that big of a percentage.
That's a real number too. Like I know
Yeah.
that, and it's odd that you see that from our kids.
Right.
I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll give you my viewpoint.
Okay. And so we really wanted to understand and get underneath like the root cause of that response. Is it related to other students, the facilities as a whole, the building, teachers? Like what is the root cause of them responding that way? Are we on track? So we're well above track on as it relates to enrollment. However, from a safety perception, it definitely has room for improvement. On the question, are there specific subgroup gaps? Definitely could be a subgroup gap on the underlying data for the safety perception. So it would be great to understand like how the subgroups responded if we had that access to that data. And it could really tie into the bigger conversation and like the points that we just went over. So it would be interesting to know that. And then outside of the instructional core, what could be a focus area? A couple of things here that we discussed. More visibility and vocal communication around our goals as an IB school. So thinking about global citizenship, if people are feeling unsafe, like could that tie in and help the matter? And then also, as it relates to enrollment, just ensuring the Brady community continues to be engaged, to continuously improve and maintain our high enrollment. Yep.
Good. Yeah, great stuff. The enrollment one, we're good with. We need to just maintain that.
Correct.
No matter what. And honestly, 450 in each building at the minimum, you could look at. We probably have about 430 in this building and probably closer to 500 in the other. So what we need to do is get these second K1, 2 into this building, and we need to have 500 kids or more in this building. And we need to have 150, 170 fifth graders and not drop that down to 100 every year. Okay. The safety one is interesting
Yeah,
too.
like the 40% cap.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think a lot of that lies in when they're taking the survey, like the environment of it. When you put 3rd through 5th graders on and they got to take the survey and they're reading it, a lot of it has to do. Brandon is not an unsafe school, and you could ask any kid on any day, they probably would say the same thing. But it's interesting on how they're rating that. So I think we need to think about, like Moses was saying with the staff survey, how can we adjust the environment in a way that we get responses that are more accurate?
What number that was on that survey, because it gets in.
And it's a lot of clicks.
Part of a big thing.
That's a long survey. That's like everything from, do you feel like teachers teach to you? Do you feel like you're challenged? Do you feel like you learn? Like, it's long. And so that's lunch. Yeah.
One thing important to think about is this is more than just one question. So it's not, do I feel like my school is safe or extremely safe? This is a culmination of a lot. I have an algorithm that gave us that number. Some of the questions are, and I will tell you, students in my class behave so I can learn.
Yeah.
Now, our kids behave, but every single child will typically call out a kid that they know in the class that's annoying on that. And they put that on there every time.
Yeah.
So all of that kind of calculates into like a safe, a safe or a safe school.
Are we able to see the subgroups?
Oh, great question. I bet I can if I dig into it. You definitely can.
I just wonder if.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
In the survey.
Well, this one, so we have 2 surveys. One of them is the climate survey that gives us our climate score, which I feel like is this survey they're talking about.
Okay.
And that is in the, that's in the spring usually. They really come back, they have about a, well, honestly, they give you about a 6-month window. It starts in like December, and you have to have it done by the end of the year, and you have to have all of your 3rd through 5th grade students, and then you have to have 15 parents, and then you have to have like 90% of your staff. That's usually in the spring. We also give an AMP Up survey, which is an equity-based survey. I don't think that's gonna have safety questions, but that's right around the corner for our 4th and 5th grade students. And I think that one gives us the answers to like the student staff relationship question. That one's coming up. All right, awesome. Let's go to caring for a child. Bring the computer over.
So we were noticing how amazing we are. But of course, as David mentioned, the student staff relationship is like, what? And could that be a subgroup gap in that performance? So.
Sure. On the attendance point, obviously our metrics are pretty high. Our theory is that, we benefit a lot from demographic tailwinds here, like folks have reliable transportation, ability to get their kids to school. I think the opportunity for us with, attendance not being a problem for most of our population, it gives us kind of the luxury of.
Yep. And also having a big school.
The luxury of drilling down on cases.
Right.
That need help.
Right.
Through, and classroom teacher, school counselor, social work can all be kind of learning signs there. We talked about the 3 discipline lines kind of in the same group. Again, our discipline metrics look healthy, and that seems to make intuitive sense based on the overall culture and like order of the school. We talked about making sure, and I don't think Morris Brandon is that kind of environment, but if there are early warning signs from a discipline perspective, that it's like safe to talk about that, even if it becomes a call incident. And then on the student staff relationships, could be sort of a survey answer where maybe a kid doesn't precisely understand what that means, but Zan and I were thinking this really like as a reminder that the SEL stuff is in scope for what you guys do inside the building. And,
Caldwell Dawn to the front, please. Thank you.
Is Caldwell in here?
and just like a kid kind of needs constant reminders that like the adults in their life in the building, take care about them. So those are some remaining.
Good. Okay, great. My thoughts on this category is probably our strongest. We need to maintain this. We need to keep doing kind of what we're doing. I do think that the student staff relationship piece is going to increase with our increase of MTSS support and counselors. I don't know if you see them as posted in the mornings, and like these kids are like eager to come in and build and see her. Yeah, so some of those little shifts that we've made, I do think are going to really help with those relationships. Also, coming out of the pandemic, 5 years later, remember the kids that answered these questions are now at the highest level of 5th grade. Maybe just by default that will change, but that would be one. That's that 21-point increase. That's the big category for this one. Yep.
I also wonder if kids got hung up on this like most or all. Like just because you don't feel comfortable with someone doesn't mean they want to listen to you. Right. Like that kind of like let's just be honest. Like we're 8, 9-year-olds. So if they have a teacher that's like, oh, I would never tell that person that. Okay, well that might not be that person for you, but it doesn't mean you don't have like plenty of people that would listen.
It's kind of like the Gallup survey when they asked the teachers, I have a best friend at work. I never got that answer. It's always because it's not like my best friend is at work. It's that I have someone at work that I can consider my best friend. You know what I mean? Like you have to change. And we had a whole thing around that and what the question means.
My corporate job, we were coached to make a best friend quick.
Yeah. The Q12 question, we all do it. We all do it. All right, anything else? Awesome, thank you. I'll close it out because Forehand decided to take the afternoon off. Just kidding, Forehand. Oh, is he out today? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Forehand, if you're watching the recording, I got you. I know that. All right. No, forehand's great. I know it. Don't worry. Okay. What I want to tell you is right here, we are talking about strength as our team. A couple things. The first thing that I'm wondering for me was that our staff engagement was a little lower than expected. When you think about engagement, it's a little different than like, hey, my staff are happy, or hey, people want to work here. Engagement is another level of work. And if you know anything about Gallup, getting to that engagement part is very challenging. The average for education for engagement is lower than 64%. And then for all the other fields that you see, engagement is typically around that 50 percentile and even lower. Great employees that come to work and do their job, but what does it mean to be engaged? And it's those teachers that stay after school, that do their tutorial, that run clubs, that come to things on the weekends. And they always show the tug of war, the picture, and that if you are pulling with the rest of the group, you are engaged. But if you're pulling the other way, kind of going against stuff, you're not. Kids are calling me. All right, I want to keep going. So the question I have is, how can we increase our staff engagement via Gallup? Because the staff engagement question had to do that. So that's going to be our big push. Like, how do we increase that? For the next question, it was, are you on track? I said we're definitely on track for our goals for number 2 and 3 for engagement and experience. And also teacher salary. That was the one. Those are the 2 that I know we're on track with: teacher experience and salary. Because Dr. Johnson has said that in 5 years, every teacher will be making 100,000 in APS, which is awesome, right, Chris? You're married to one. And then with the teachers that are 3 or more years experience, my wondering was like, I don't think that that's a very good measure of success. There is nothing wrong with young teachers and new teachers. I love new teachers and young teachers. I think that APS looks at that as like, why are people leaving so much, and why can't we keep the same people for a long time? And that they're looking to have teachers that remain and stay in schools for 3 or more years or longer of building those veterans. We have lots of veteran teachers at Brandon, but we also have people right out of college and those that are in their 1st or 3rd years. But if you fast forward 5 years, if they all stay here, then obviously we'll be at that goal, right? And then I talked about another measure that we could look at instead of teacher years of experience is like certifications, because we have teachers that are here that have only been teaching for a year or 2 that are like Orton trained, have gifted trained, or get their ESOL, they're going to PD. Like, measuring certs for teachers and their value they can bring to kids as opposed to the years of experience is probably more valuable. And then Tiffany and I talked about the need for professional learning and professional development, adding that in there. When you talk about the strength being your team, that's how you build them up, right? And we do a ton of professional learning, so making sure that we're allocating funds for all of that. Okay? All right, are you guys ready to keep moving on? Got a couple more things to do. So we're going to take a 2-minute hiatus while I plug back in and I reshare the screen. And let's get this to come up. Is it coming up? All right. Let's keep rolling. Mission and vision. We're supposed to write that today, but guess what? I've got a great one already. And I do think that our mission and vision is fantastic. We spent a ton of time with this with our staff before our last IB evaluation, and we took time writing this, and I wanted you all to look at it. And I personally believe that if we were to rewrite our mission and vision, that we need staff buy-in as well. I don't necessarily believe that it's a full-on GOTeam work, but at the same time, GOTeam feedback is great. Let's take a look at it briefly. APS's mission and vision, while we're here, take a look if you'd like to update the mission and vision, and we can look at the next 2 slides to decide that. And we have a potential activity, but I wanted you to just take a look at the mission and vision because this is our mission and vision from 2014 to 2019. And then this is our mission and vision from 2020 on. Okay. I'm going to read it to you. It is the mission of Morris Brandon Elementary to develop students' academic, social, and emotional needs by engaging our entire school community to work collaboratively while fostering international mindedness and the love of learning. Notice how you see the teachers wanted the words community in there, which I think is a buzzword right now. I think that's a great word to have in there. Collaborative, international mindedness. Those are the three things that our teachers wanted. And then the vision of Morris Brandon Elementary to educate the whole child by teaching empathy, open-mindedness, compassion, and critical thinking while giving every student what they need to be successful, lifelong learners. To me, that was that equity piece, maybe everybody getting what they need to be successful at Morris Brandon. So that's our mission and vision. And if we want to do some work around that, we can. If you have any feedback on that, you can let me know. I can also tell you that you're welcome to email me thoughts on this, on the mission and vision, anything you want to include in there. But if you want to share anything now, I am all ears. So let me know what you're thinking.
Wait, did you say that the teachers worked on it?
We did it with Sam and the teachers.
What did the teachers come?
This is it.
This is the one they came on, like.
So we did this. We did a lot of work in this in
Oh,
2019.
you forgot it says 2020.
So 2020 is when we adopted it, but like they worked on it probably in 2019. Right?
Sorry.
Does that make sense? So we had
We're just.
Yep.
Seeing if we need to make any changes to one.
Yeah, I just thought you said that like this year you.
No, not this year.
That's fine.
We could have, because we had our IB evaluation at the end of last year. But our Sam and our staff and everyone still felt like that encompassed our school. Now, is it something that we start every staff meeting with and every PTO coffee talk? It's not. So if you feel like we can create a richer one or a more valuable one, I would be open to suggestions, but I would also like to run it through our staff. And let them do it.
The 2020 revision did a nice job picking out more of the IB themes in the prior ones. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a nice blend of APS and.
Okay, good. Good. Ask GOTeam should hold up their fingers to indicate the level of satisfaction with the current mission and vision. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Let's roll. All right. All right. It is. All right, here's our strategic plan. That was goes in there. Let's talk about our goals. So as a school, we have continuous improvement goals that as like an internal, like staff and admin know those goals. They want us to align those goals now with these KPI goals and pick some of those. So what I have come up with are these 4 on the bottom. Okay. These are our CIP goals. I just want to read them to you really quickly. By the end of the school year, we got to go from 72 to 80% proficient on math. Okay, 8%. That's our goal. Last year we were 75 to 80, but we dropped a little bit. By the end of 25-26, we need to go from 74 to 80% in ELA. Right? By the end of the 2025-26 school year, 100% of our new 1st through 5th grade students at Brandon will be connected to the school community as evidenced by 95% or higher attendance and 0 or reduced office discipline referrals. Those are our internal goals that we are measuring our success by. Now, based on the KPIs, these are the 4 that I listed. Tell me what your thoughts are. I liked the ELA 3rd grade goal, right? If you can get your 3rd graders to 76.5%, then think about where they'll be in 4th and 5th grade. I thought that was a good goal. And we are, to 87%. This is where we are now. And I still feel like that's reachable. That is attainable. I mean, it's hard. You can see where we were in 1 year with ELA. I mean, we dropped a percentage point, but we shoot for the stars. Increase the percentage of Black students with typical or high end of grade milestone student growth percentiles from 62 to 73. My focus was the growth. We get a lot of kids in 4th and 5th that we've never had at Morris Brandon. Okay. It's hard to bank all your proficiency on kids that have never been proficient up until the year they come to you. So we need to focus on the growth. Okay. And if you can show growth, you can still hit a lot of other targets and a lot of state goals and things like that. So I want like 75% of our African-American students having really high growth percentiles. So if they were anywhere else in the state of Georgia, they came to us, they are outperforming any kid that was like them after the year that they've been with us. By 2030, increase the percentage of students feeling comfortable going to most or all of the adults in school. Didn't we talk about that one? From 54 up to 75. Let's get that up. I think that's a good goal. When our kids feel comfortable, when they're ready to go to people, they feel supported. Then I believe this comes, and I believe this comes. All right, the last one, increase the percentage of engaged staff. Didn't we talk about those 4 kind of with the exception of the first one because we didn't deal with that? So that's what I listed. And from what I heard from y'all, those were some of the good ones as well. We can always toggle, we can always go back and forth. And if you ever feel like you want to chat, send another goal, take the KPI home, read it, come up with something else, you can send it to me. I didn't adjust any of the targets, but they did say like if we need to reasonably change some of those, we could. So if we wanted to potentially drop this down to like an 85 or an 82, we could. We could. If we're looking technically at like a 5% gain each year, like that might be right about right, you know, for 5 years from now. All right. Thoughts, questions? What are we thinking? Do you think we have 4 solid KPI goals that we could move forward with in the next GOTeam meeting?
Yeah.
Awesome. Here's a quote from Robert McCain. Great guy. Really did a lot for us. Questions?
Required that you have 4, can you have more?
You know, it had spots for 4,
Okay.
so I gave 4. It actually gave 4 spots for CIP, but we only have 3 CIP goals. If we want to pick some more, we can. I mean, honestly, this is all going to be our goal. Like we are going to shoot for this, but if we're going to share something with our community, we're going to put that out in our strategic plan and we're going to align budget to it. We want to pick our 4 highest leverage ones. And I think that these encompass that.
And I think by meeting those 4, you cover a lot of.
You do cover a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right.
87%.
Yeah, that's high. That is high. But
That means like 13 bill pass, how many kids is that? Like,
yeah. Well, look at the kids that we have coming up, man. That's, you know, these next year, these second graders coming up, 160 of them. They've been in school, they're learning, they've been here, they're hot, you know, like that, like we've got the kids in now, like where we needed it. All right. Thank you guys. Great meeting, okay? I'm gonna let close it out, Ashley. Kim.
So now we can move on to information items. Jay, do you have anything on staffing?
Say that one more time.
Do you have anything on staffing?
No, I don't, but I do think I talked about it last time, but we introduced our 4 new staff at our staff meeting, 2 hourly teachers. Michelle Kemp is back, who's phenomenal, who worked here. I didn't have a slide for this. I should have showed the same slide I had at the staff meeting Tuesday, but she's back as an intervention teacher at PC. Dr. Coleman Johnson is back here now, 29 hours a week, 22 hours a week. And she works very closely with Ms. Moses in intervention. And then we've hired 1 more special ed teacher, Ms. Clark is now here. And then we made our recommendation for our other one who will be at PC. So we definitely have new staff coming in because we've earned those positions. And a para, yes, Carl. We had some extra money, so we went ahead and purchased another para support for this main campus. He worked in the cafeteria, but now he's full-time student support, non-instructional aid.
Great.
Yep.
Happy to hop in wherever he's.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I like to say non-instructional aid because so often we get paras that have to be assigned to kids or students with disabilities. Like the Carl is like, hey, I'm here for the kids. I can go anywhere. I can support any kid. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Do you have any updates on the APS board 2040 long range facilities?
No, I do not. I do not.
And then we have reached, we have any announcements? Any updates from cluster or anything?
We did the same work at cluster, so.
Perfect.
We did have the cluster meeting on Tuesday till 6 o'clock. That was fun, but we reviewed this. We did.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Dr. Mitchell.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have reached the end of our agenda. No additional business, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion.
Thank you. A second? All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting is adjourned at 4:45.
All right. Thank you guys so much.